Just because you don't believe it doesn't mean it isn't real. She Came Back was directed by Megan Follows. Yes, Anna Green Gables herself. I was certainly shocked to find that out, but we love fun facts around these parts. Check out our IMDb page for the full list of her work. This is written by Chris John and Christina Vegas in their feature credit, and centers around Charlie, played by Amy Beth McNulty, who is a young woman going through it. She lost her mother in a tragic way. We find out how and why a little bit later on in the film. And yeah, she's dealing with the aftermath of that, obviously being close to a blood relative, even though you don't need blood to be family, but losing somebody that gave birth to you, that you had that strong bond with, it's going to play on the mind of an individual. But her dad, Michael, Chris Holden Reed, is going to marry a new squeeze, Donna, Athena Karkaris, and she actually, just wants to be there for Charlie. She really wants to be there for her. She wants to unite the family because she does love Michael. And on the way to the wedding, while her best friend Emma's mom drives her, she's in a car accident and a near-death experience takes place. The term near-death experience is said roughly 10 to 20 times in this movie. At least it seemed like it. And she's in a hospital bed. She starts to go into the light and sees her mother and feels a connection and wants to try to find that connection. Because again, when you lose somebody close to you, you want to make sure that you never lose that, especially when they're no longer here. You just want to hold on to it. Don't leave the memories alone. Hold on to it as much as you can. And then from there, she's basically haunted by this and haunted by the feeling that something is not quite right. She just feels a little bit off. I don't fit in this world. No, she wasn't Tommy Wiseau in the room, but from there we have a suspense movie with a little bit of horror and everything, and a concept that has been done to death, ironically, given the theme of it. And yeah, we have a cast that certainly tries, and a movie that had a very low production. And look, I appreciate independent films getting made, especially horror. It is hard to make a film, and I understand what they were trying to go for, and playing on the grief of losing somebody that you love. That, even as a well-worn trope, can be something you could, utilize to build some suspense and some sadness in your movie. The problem is this movie is both simple and an incomprehensible mess, to the point I was actually just, oh boy, no, now it's getting goofy. And yeah, it's a concept more than a movie. It didn't really work. It didn't really click. The cast tried. I think Amy Beth did the best she could as Charlie. But then every other character, and I know what they were doing, but it just didn't click. None of the characters really felt fleshed out. Some character motivations would change, like in the same goddamn scene. It seemed like the movie's being written in real time. Everybody's got to start somewhere. I'm not knocking, but this did not click at all. And the scares didn't work at all. And also the fact that it kind of leaves the movie up in the air. What actually happened? I mean, it just leaves you with more questions you really don't want answers to. That being said, it is what it is. You can check it out. There are certainly worse movies out there, but as far as movies that, play on well-worn tropes, this was a misfire. 3, 2, 1, and spoilers. So, her mom died in a car accident. Her mom had severe depression, anxiety, and it wasn't an accident. She was deliberately trying to take Charlie with her. That's why this ghost is basically saying, you belong to me. It's like you need to be with me and this kind of stuff. And Charlie develops this gift where she can suddenly tell when people are gonna die. Now you have to wonder, is she in the real world where it won't stop hassling Rob Thomas? Good old Matchbox 20 reference. Who doesn't love that? Or is, she, is still in the hospital fighting for her goddamn life, trying to come out of a coma. Because she ends up being tied to this hospital because that's where she first saw her mother, or at least saw her mother for the first time in a while. She first notices this girl, Jody, is sick, and she passes away. The whole thing about childhood trauma, that actually is legit and can be something that could haunt people. It's just, it should have been featured in a better movie, not a bland, boring, sleep-inducing one like this. So there's this guy, Keith Colm Feore, or however you say it, Feore. He talks about a near-death experience he had. Again, near-death experience, hit over the head multiple times. And yeah, he wants to help. He's like he deals with paranormal phenomenon, phenomenon. And from there, yeah, stuff just occurs. She will see, people that aren't actually there. One guy ends up dying. Somebody close to her. Oh my God, I didn't expect this to be happening. Because she senses when people are going to die. So, all right, is she crazy like her mother? Or is this an actual gift? Or again, is this all in her head? Is she happy? Is she feeling bad? Is she about to go into the afterlife from her hospital bed? Is she useless but not for long? The light is coming on strong. So Emma does the whole thing where she ends up possessed and then burns, Charlie's arm. And one of the goofiest things that I had seen. That was super goofy. I mean, that was ridiculous. Donna's kind of a bitch because she figures that Charlie should be on medication. And sure, some people should, but just the tone of her voice is like, no, you should pay attention to me, not pay attention to your own blood, is what she's saying to her husband. Keith ends up saying that to her, just because you don't believe it doesn't mean it isn't real. She sees a girl that ends up dying. The parents can't figure out what's going on. Yeah, the mother did what she did, and that's never the answer, by the way, just want to say. I'm not blaming, but Emma dies, and Charlie goes to the funeral and sees various possessed people because her mother's spirit is haunting her. So it could actually be a spirit pertaining to your mother. It could be her actual mother because her mother was actually nuts and perhaps evil. So Keith then gets her out of the hospital again. She checked herself back in because she wasn't doing well, but Keith gets her, and then Keith races around the goddamn car. Boop, 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 boop. She kicks him in the head. He crashes it. She gets this little boy, Joe, that's obviously terminally ill, and has to leave him because he is about to die because she's, the lights are suddenly fading. It's getting a lot darker in that stairwell all of a sudden. And then she ends up basically dying because this nurse, possessed by the mother, tries to kill her. And she has to fight back through that. She sees Donna being taken. All this weird stuff's going on. It's just insane. At least it should be, but it's really bland and sleep-inducing. And she ends up seeing some memories from her childhood. And then all of a sudden she is back. After going through these doors and falling down, she ends up back on the faithful day where she ended up in the car accident when Emma's mother got hit. But this time she doesn't get hit. And she goes to the wedding, and the wedding's fine. And this woman's yelling across the street, Charlie, Charlie. Could be her mother, could be a secretary that her dad fired from his job. That I don't know what job he had. I don't really know. That woman gets hit, and that's it. So yeah, she's seeing people that are about to die, whatever. It doesn't really goddamn matter, in all honesty, because this movie, simple yet an incomprehensible mess. I'm sorry, but it just didn't work for me. It gets an F. This is a basic concept that just doesn't work. And yes, childhood trauma, being legit, certain things could have worked here. But man, those fire effects and those special effects, some of the worst that I've seen, low budget or not, don't do certain things if you can't even make them look halfway good. That was not good at all. Still, better than skeletons in the closet. That's not a very high bar. So yeah, if agree, disagree what I said, like, share, subscribe, Twitter handle in the description. I'm John Rickland. I'll see you soon.